and Ronnie.
Back for another video. So what are we going to talk about today?
I think this is kind of a fun video. Got some interesting points. Today's video, we are talking
What
about...
to do by the letter Z.
Right. And who was the count on Sesame Street? 1, 2, 3. That's what the count did. He counted.
Yeah, go on.
Okay, so anyway. Today's video, I think, is a fun video. Get you thinking there. So this video, basically, we are talking about rappers in America, of course, in America, the United States, that support the former president, Donald Trump. Which I actually think is kind of interesting because you don't think, when you think of Donald Trump, first thing that comes to my mind, I do not think rappers. I think skyscrapers and stuff like that, real estate deals. But I thought it was kind of interesting. So we basically came up with a list of rappers that are currently supporting him.
This is John's baby.
Hey, what do you mean it's my baby?
It is. I'm just going to...
You listen to rap.
Yeah, but not this new stuff.
Okay, but anyway, so we've come up with a list. So we could only actually find 9. But the 9, I'm sure there's more out there, but the 9 that we came up with, we have Sexyy Red, Chief Keef, Kodak Black, Badman Kevo, Benny the Butcher, Ojeezy, Bruce Young, Waka Flocka, and Azalea Banks. So they were the 9 rappers that were all supporting Trump, which I kind of thought, when me and Ronnie talked about it, I thought it was interesting, you know, and basically what I did, I researched a lot of the different ones, not to go into reading everything that they posted, but we took some kind of, just some points that each one basically had said their reason and why they supported Donald Trump. So I'm going to go over them, and then I will give you a chance to respond with your rebuttal. Okay, let me get the glasses because old guys can't see. Whoop, there we go. Okay, so giving back to the community was one of the comments, and I had to look into it. That's basically referring to stimulus checks that were given out, I guess, during COVID. Can relate to them. Yeah, most of them. Some said that they can relate to him, saying that he's a real soldier. Another rapper said he's just plain funny. Then there was the comment, paid way less taxes when he was president. Protects the Second Amendment, which, because me and Ronnie are gun owners, that's a very good thing. We definitely agree with that. Let's see. Oh, and another one, let's see, which I actually thought was interesting. They support him in the hood, which I thought was kind of interesting because I think in 2016, when he was originally elected president, I think they said he only got about, I think it was maybe 16%, if he got that. So I think that's kind of interesting. So give me some bits and pieces what you're thinking over there, Miss Ronnie.
So, you know, this is really going to show my age, but out of the 9 rappers, you know, or performers that he read off, I had only heard of 2, Waka Flocka and that Sexyy Red. And what was that last one?
What?
That Azalea, I think.
Azalea Banks.
Azalea Banks. I think I may have heard of her. So, I mean, that's fine because as far as music goes today, I'm just not into it. You know, I'm like an old school. As far as rap goes, I like to rap from the late 80s to the 90s, maybe the early 2000s. The stuff of today, just to me, doesn't vibe with me, and you know, I don't really think it's an age thing. I just think it's good taste or music. It just doesn't rub me the same way as the music, you know, from the 90s or, you know, when it was starting out does. It just doesn't have the same flow. To me, it all sounds the same. I'm not sure what exactly they're talking about. So it is what it is. So someone versus someone who what do they call now, Gen Y or something? I don't know. So whatever the generations are, you're out there and you're listening, to this music. These rappers that he, called out or whatever, or called off, what they're saying, this poses a really good exercise in this whole political thing, because do these rappers really have that much say or that much influence over the young generation of today that they're going to say Waka Flocka said vote for Trump and they're going to vote for Trump? That's huge if they have that kind of clout. But to me, I think that I would say half, because I'm not even going to say half, because again, I don't like to generalize, but from what I can see from the young people today, some of them are really on board with what's going on politically. Some are just out there and they don't even know who the first president of the United States was. So that's a wide gamut, that you're going through here. But I say all that to say, are they really going to let someone who's a rapper influence who they vote for? If they do, then probably Biden's in trouble. But my whole thing is, I want to totally flip the script on this, because I remember growing up in the 80s, and like I said, going to school in the 80s, and going to college, and in the 90s or whatever, listening to this music. When it first came out, nobody was on board with rap. You had the government coming up with these groups to ban rap. 2 Live Crew. Not only rap, it was rock too. Anything that they felt was detrimental to the young mind.
I'm sorry. So I want to stop you right there, because I think this is a good point. When you say they were against rap in the government,
mm-hmm.
So that brings up an interesting theory, because the question you pose is basically, why would these rappers be interested in Trump? And maybe that is part of the reason too. Like, I gave some topics that they just printed, that they had said online, but that's interesting too, because if you sit back and think that when rap first came out, the government was against them, then you look at Trump, who basically a lot of people that support Trump say that the government's against him. Basically in 2016, he ran up on cleaning out the swamp. So a lot of old school Republican, just old political people didn't like him because he was from the outside. He basically came from a business background. That's an interesting point. Do you think that could be the thing too? Because where some of them said, like, he's a real soldier, that type of thing. Could that be where that's coming from?
I don't know. I'm off the top of my head, I'm going to say no, because I don't think anybody really remembers that PMRC and that Tipper Gore and how they really got on their soapbox and really banned music. Tipper Gore.
He wasn't a president.
Tipper Gore was the wife. It was basically mothers that were getting together.
But the Gores weren't presidents.
No, but they got this thing to go through where they put the labels on the albums and the explicit content. Exactly. Yeah. Totally banned 2 Live Crew. They couldn't do anything. These people were getting arrested while they were out there trying to play their music.
Down with the government. We'll be on a list now.
If you thought that it was, the words or whatever, the point I'm trying to make is 40 years ago, maybe 35 years ago, you didn't want any part of rap. But now, 35 years or 40 years down the road, rap is running everything. You see it on all the commercials. You see it on television shows. You see it in the movies. It is now part of the lexicon. So now it's running things. But I just find it funny that, a while back, you couldn't listen to this. You were banned. You couldn't go buy it. Kids couldn't buy it. And now it's affecting political, outcomes. It, to me, is just amazing that takes place. Now, again, are the young people going to, listen to them and say, hey, they said vote for Trump, let's vote for Trump? I don't know. I mean, I like to think a lot of them have, you know, really, are really down with their views and know what they want to do and not really going to be affected by some famous person or semi-famous person telling them what to do. But again, what I call them sheeple. People just go along and believe or do what they, necessarily want to do. John and I had this conversation the other day about, I don't want to get that deep into the politics, but the Democrats versus the Republicans. Personally, where I stand right now, I think I'm tired of both of them. It's time to have a complete upset and have another party or other parties in there. I'm just sick of both of them. But, for the longest time, it was Democrats. And we were talking about this because he said, his father said, oh, you vote Democrat, everybody vote Democrat. That was in my family too. Why are we voting Democrat? Well, because we always did it. I think in the black community, Democrat. Why you vote Democrat? Because we always did it. But there was a time where it was Republicans. Where it switched, I got to look that up because I'm thinking it switched, maybe the early 1900s. I don't quote me on that because I'm not sure. But for whatever reason, it switched from Republicans to Democrats. And then it might have been during the Great Migration or whatever. I'm not sure. Democrats were out there saying stuff that black people actually, I guess, believed for or fell for, and then it was like, oh no, if you, and that's funny because it's like if you're black, you vote Democrat, and that's just the way it was. And again, sheeple, you don't look outside of, well, maybe maybe the Republicans is a better party for me. Maybe the Republicans are saying things that, I want to hear as far as how I feel this country should be run. So it's very funny how everything definitely rides along political lines, but as far as I'm concerned, I think it's time for an upset. I think it's time for completely different parties to go out there, and I think that other people have things to say, and it shouldn't really always be along party lines.
Well, you're registered as an independent, correct?
I am, because I'm just,
yes,
again, I said I'm sick of it. And to me, it's going to have to, it's not along party lines. It's about somebody saying something that I can get behind. It's not, a bunch of rhetoric. If I really believe what you're saying, then I'm going to vote for you. I think Charlemagne the God said something like it was, what did he mention? He said something about it's going to be,
well, he said
it's going to be crooks. No, it's going to be between, it was another C. It was something crooks and the couch. And that's what it's going to come down to. So do you go for, I forget what the other C was, but do you go for that? You go for crooks, or do you go for the couch? And he said, unfortunately, he believed that the couch is going to win out. Because people just aren't going to go and vote because, you're just sick of what's out there. So.
Well, he said he had voted for Biden 4 years ago, but he won't make the same mistake.
Yeah, I wasn't even talking about that. I was just talking about as in general or whatever.
Yeah,
but,
I think that's what brought that comment up, though, because he felt like, because I seen part of the interview, he felt like him as a person and black people in general were misled the first time around.
Yeah.
So I think that was part of his reason why he felt that way. I mean, I grew up in a Democratic family. I changed parties to Republican probably about, 8-10 years ago. Mm-hmm. But like I said, growing up in a Democratic family, that's the way we were always told. And I even remember saying to my dad when I first started voting, I guess it was around 18, and I had said to him, I said, who are we voting for? And he says, just vote Democrat. And I looked at him, I'm like, you're not voting for a particular person? He says, no, we just vote party. And I said, well, why do we do that? And he said to me, because a Democrat takes care of the working people, which I guess years ago, maybe that was a fact between the two parties.
I think way back when that was true, but I think it definitely has changed. I definitely think it's changed in both parties, really. But yeah, it's like you said, that's how you vote. That's how your family voted. That's how you always voted, and then you just don't question it. But one thing I do like about certain generations is they come along and they're like, I got a question with, what you're saying and what you're doing, and does it really need to fall along political lines?
And I think the thing he was mad at me one year because I guess we were voting for president, and I had voted for, oh, I guess it was George Bush, because weren't there two? Were they both brothers, or father and son?
Father and son.
George Bush, W.G. Bush, one or the other, I don't know. But anyway,
I think W was the son.
I forget which one. It might have been the original Bush.
Yeah.
But Dad said to me, "Did you vote?" And I said, "Yeah." And it was funny because one of them rappers said that the stimulus checks were big reason why he wanted to vote for Trump and put him in office in 2024, because he felt like Trump was giving them checks back to the community people that really needed the money. And I remember when my dad said to me, and this goes back years, because I was probably maybe, I don't know, maybe in my teens, early 20s. And he said, "Did you vote?" And I said, "Yeah, I voted." And he says, "Oh, so you voted?" And I forget who was running at the time against Bush. I said, "I voted for Bush." And he almost had a stroke. And he said to me, "Why would you do that?" And I said, "You know," and I think I was in my 20s now that I think about it. I said, the years that I've been voting, I said, there has never been anybody in that political realm that have ever given me back anything when I'm paying taxes and everything like that. And it was funny because that year, I think it might have been the year before. It might have been the year before or that year. I think I got a check back for like $250. Now you may say, "John, $250, what's that?" But to me, as a 20-some-year-old, $250 was a lot of money, and that goes back. That was like $1,000 in the, I guess, 80s or 90s. So, like I said, to me, that was a reason why. And then when I look back, because if you listen, and I remember him saying at the time, well, it's not about you just getting something out of it. But see, that's where me and my dad definitely would have agreed to disagree, because to me, if you look at all the reasons why people vote because of when you vote, and see, this is where me and Ronnie have a little bit of a conflict, because she'll say, "Well, I don't really like the person, he's got issues, he's got baggage." I've always looked at it like this: you have to vote. When you vote, you should be voting to what makes your life better, people around you, their life better. And not to get too political with this, but that's basically the reason why I vote the way I vote, because I think basically, if your main concern was, let's say, I have a landscape business, I do a lot of driving, and my equipment uses gas, you're going to be more favorative to the president, future, previous, or present, that basically kept them gas prices down and saved you on fuel charges. And Ronnie can even tell you, if you look at my fuel bill, I get a nice sized fuel bill every month when I'm working. So basically, in a nutshell, my whole feeling is, when you vote, you're not voting for a person to teach your kids Sunday school, or somebody who you're going to sit down at the holidays with. You're voting for the person that can do the best job for you in the long run. That's keeping your utility bills down, your fuel bills, less taxes, protecting your Second Amendment.
So the issue, and again, I walk a fine line with this because I have morals and integrity. And, I can understand, like, okay, yeah, I don't have to, be friends with this person. I get it. But I also, at a certain point along that, I do have to kind of like you as a person, because what you're saying, if you're saying that but you're acting in a different way, to me that's going against what you're saying. So and I really do have to take you at what you project forth, to the public or whatever. And John says, "Oh, well, you're not, it's not a personality contest." No, it's not. But to me, part of it should be, because if you have no integrity, if I can't trust you, as a person that has integrity or something about them, then how am I going to really trust you to run the country? There's always going to be a part of me is like, I just don't know. This person is like, a time bomb, that type of thing.
So let me ask you something. When you hire an electrician, a plumber, a contractor, if he comes in there, gives you a cheap estimate or a good estimate, and he does the work the way it's supposed to, do you have to like him? Or is it because he's performing a service for you at a reasonable price?
I'm going to put it to you this way, and this is what I've always said, and this is like going out for jobs or interviews or whatever. If I go out for a job and somebody's interviewing me, I'm interviewing them as well. So if I don't like the way I'm treated during the interview, I don't have to take the job. Same thing with doing contractors or whatever. I've had contractors come in here and have serious attitude. Are they getting the job? No.
Look at Schultz.
Dogs are here, folks.
Put his head on my leg.
But yeah, so to me, I'm very serious about that. If I don't like you, then I don't care if you came in the cheapest out of 10, contractors. You're not getting the job. That's just me. You may think I'm cutting off my nose to spite my face, but again, I have morals. I have to be like, you know what? At some point, no, you're not just going to say and get away with anything.
You can have morals, but at the same point, you have to do in the long run what's best for your family. And see, I bring this up. I got some customers, I would say probably almost 100% of my customers are great people. I do have a couple, and you couple know who you are, that I don't like.
Yeah, you're not getting
and Ronnie will tell you, she'll tell you, cut that guy, cut that woman, get them off the list, get rid of them. But again, I'm doing what's best for me, even though sometimes they're more aggravation than they're worth. And to vote, if you're living paycheck to paycheck, which a lot of people do in this world today, if you're not going to vote because you don't like a person in general because what they may say, but you can afford to pay $4 for a gallon of gas instead of $1.80 a gallon, then I say more power to you. Keep up with your morals and stuff like that. But to me, you can't. Most people, and I'm going to take one of your words, you cut it off your nose to spite your face. Because I think actually my grandmother said that once too. Because with economy and people living paycheck to paycheck, you got to step out of the realm and be like, look, I may not like you. I don't have to sit down at the holidays with you, but I'm going to vote for what's best for my family. And that's the way I think people should be. Ronnie look like she's getting pissed off now.
No, I'm not.
You're getting like a little smoke coming out your head.
Because John and I are always going to agree to disagree on this subject. So I don't care how much we talk about, we're not going to come to a meeting of the minds on it.
But see, this is good debate. That's the way we should be.
I know.
In our last video, we did a video where we were both on the same page. But I think it's interesting, and I want to get comments. I get people come back at us, because I know a lot of people out there with these same opinions. Some of them may have Ronnie's opinions, some may have my opinions, but I think it's good dialogue. Get it out there, and because I think when you get out there and you talk about it, people can understand. And I don't think you got people on one side of the line, people on the other side of the line. I think when we talk about it, we can all come together, group, and make the right decisions what we should do in the future.
Well, that sounds good.
How's that sound?
So you guys let us know in the comments.
I sound like a politician. Vote for John 2024.
Please don't. Yeah. So you guys let us know in the comments how you feel about today's topic, and as always, we like reading your comments, and just let us know how you feel about it. Obviously it's a heated subject with some people.
Yeah. And I want no 2-line comments. I want comments like that.
You're shaking the camera. Yeah, so whatever. But yeah, so we're going to wrap this video up, folks. Again, thanks for watching. And what do we say?
Peace and love.
What did we say?
You don't want to say my thing, but I got to say yours. Peace and love. God bless you all.
Peace and love. Bye, folks.
Bye-bye.
Next video.